How's the greatest church in the world doing? Good to see y'all. Would y'all make our online audience feel welcome this morning? God bless you. They're watching all over America. Come on. Don't patty cake. You can do better than that. Hey, if you happen to be on the end of an aisle, we still have some people that are looking for some seats. If you could kind of squish toward the middle, that would help us out for some people that are trying to find some seats. But thank you so much for being here. If you're here for the first time, my name's Chad, and I'm one of the pastors here, and we are just thrilled to have you. And I want to draw your attention to just a couple of quick things, okay? You should have gotten a service guide whenever you came in. And on the inside flap of that service guide is a thing called a Connect card, okay? And if you will give us your information, only thing I want to be able to do is I want to write you a letter this week, tell you thank you for being here, and I want to put in a $5 Starbucks gift card, just thanking you for your time and just letting you know about what all is going on here. If you're looking for a church home or you're looking for a family, we want to be able to love on you. And on the back of that, we have a place where you can give prayer requests. If you're going through something or you would like for us to be in prayer with you about it, you can either have the staff or the whole church praying. Some people are like, dude, I need 1 million people praying for me on this, and that's totally cool because we do that. But we want to bond with people through prayer. And so at the end of our service, if you'd be so good to turn in your Connect card in the back, we would love to be able to follow up with you. What we do here is a little bit different. If this is your first time with us, we don't do offering like most churches. We don't pass the bucket or anything like that. That's private between you and God. And what our people do, if you've come prepared to give tithes and offerings today, is that you will put those in these giving boxes that are on the back walls. We got 4 of them in here, got 2 of them in the lobby. But you'll turn in your Connect card and all that stuff. But every week we like to let you know where we've invested some of your money. And now, when I give you this announcement, guys, I don't want the golf clap and I don't want that dignified thing. This is where we go fairly nuts in your level of nuts. So at least clap hard, all right? If you're not shouters or anything like that, that's fine. That's cool. You're in the right place because we're not nuts. But this is something to be excited about. In the month of August, we had over 400 people give their life to Jesus Christ. How cool is that? This is your money being well spent. Matter of fact, what's so cool is one of the groups that I have to oversee now is I remember everybody knows how to get in touch with me. My cell phone was the church phone. And you're never an inconvenience to us whenever you call and everything. I remember there was a time our church was so small, I'd look at the phone and go, ring, ding it, ring. But what we do here now, our church has grown so much. In October, I want to just let you draw attention as you're looking through the small groups to join. If you own a business or you're a part of a company that you would like to see networked with us, we're starting this thing that will meet once every 3 months called the Coastal Church Business Leaders Network. All right. Why did we start this up? First off, because there's such a demand for it. But also, now our phone is ringing so much where it'll be like, Chad, do you know the name of a good plumber? Or you know the name of a chiropractor or a lawyer or something like that? And so what will happen is on this night, if you've gone through Discover Coastal, what we want to be able to do is get everybody together. We're going to have a couple of speakers. One speaker actually is taking a company public and just talking about how to plan for success and just really inspire and motivate you. It'll be a free dinner that night. But also, we're going to network everybody in our church that's gone through to Discover Coastal, and we're going to put your name in a huge church catalog. Okay? And whenever people go through Discover Coastal, we're going to be able to let you know, hey, there's Al Babcock. He owns Urgent Care by the Bay. There's so-and-so. He works here. And so that's where we want to be able to do, where everybody's like, hey, we want some good people working on our stuff at our house. How many of you know these are good problems we have to face, right? How awesome is that? So I just want to thank you. And on the back of your Connect card, you'll sign up for all of your small groups and stuff like that. We've got a philosophy here. If you're bored or lonely at our church, it's not our fault. Okay. We've got over 90 small groups that you can be a part of. Okay. Some of you'll want to be a part of some things where they're more social. Some of you are like activity based stuff. Some of you are like, man, I want a Bible study or something like that. We got you covered, baby. It's all gravy. All right. Join, come be a part of doing life with us. But on the back of this thing, we're starting something today that will go through Thanksgiving. All right. And it's called the Giving Challenge. If you've never given financially, perhaps today you need to take a step of faith and begin. So if you've only given sporadically, I want to challenge you from now until Thanksgiving to begin giving consistently. All right. You can give in the service you attend or give online or sign up to have your giving automated. We have options to help you be faithful with this. My challenge to you, if you're willing to do this, okay, if you're willing to accept the giving challenge, here's what I want you to know. God will honor and bless your life. And here's the other thing that I want to see happen. You will grow closer to him whenever you do this, okay? We have so many generous people. We've been able to be so aggressive all over the world. I want to challenge you to do this. If you want to do that, there's a little box. Hey, I'll see this. I want to take the challenge, and we're going to believe for God to bless your life. Let's pray, and then we'll get started. Father, I love you, and thank you for who you are and what you're doing in our life. And Lord, I just pray over the next few moments, you would give me words from within to share with my brothers and sisters, Lord, both here live and online that are watching. I just pray that you would transform our life. I pray that you would help our relationships to go deeper. I pray that, Lord, we would be known as a church that has loving, caring relationships that are real and genuine and authentic. And if there's anybody here today that has yet to begin their relationship with you, or maybe at a paused point in their relationship with you, I just pray that you draw them in by your power and your presence. Lord, remind them how good you are and how giving you are, and let our life be transformed by you. In Jesus' name, everybody said. Hey, we're going to continue in our series called Real Relationships, okay? We started this series last weekend because we've had so many people in years past, as our church has grown, they have said, hey, two things I like about Coastal. Number one, it feels like a family. And one of the reasons why it feels like a family, because we all the time eat here, okay? And we are a Southern family, so we're going to eat a lot. And it's going to be a lot of food, and it's going to be usually very unhealthy. But it's kind of cool to watch how I need to brag on you guys. It used to be, you guys are starting to eat the fruit that's out there now. Some of the Nutri-Grain bars are starting to be eaten, okay? So, man, I'm proud of you. And believe it or not, we've had some leftover donuts before. We had never had that before. And so proud of you, man. You're making some great decisions. But one of the things we always hear is that we're a lot like a family. And the other thing is like, dude, this church is just so real. Well, the reason why our church is real is because we decided early on there's going to be some things that we're going to stink at, but there was going to be some other things that we weren't going to stink at. We're going to be good at doing a service, 65 minutes or under. And then the other thing we're going to be good at, man, we were going to be good at relationships. And so this whole month, we're going to be talking about relationships. And in the South, whenever we have to have hard conversations, how many of you had a mother that before she would say something bad about somebody, she would always preface it with, bless their heart? Bless her heart, she's just a tramp. I mean, or bless her heart, bless his heart, he's just ignorant, And so we'll begin we're talking relationships, 4 conversations that we have to have genuine, authentic relationships, okay? And so we begin every hard conversation that we have in the South with honey, or on the beach, dude, or sweetheart, or bro, okay? So last week we talked, the name of our message was called, Dude, You Got Issues. Today is, honey, you need to grow up. All right. So anyway, one of my favorite movies, guilty pleasure. Just gotta let you know this. Don't watch it in front of your children. All right. It's a movie called You, Me, and Dupree. Have you ever seen this movie? All right. Now, here's what's so funny. This movie is about a guy who needs to grow up. All right. His friends all have jobs and families, and Dupree's just kind of like floating through life. All right. Now, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is whenever Dupree, they say, he goes, some of you are going to ask me what my job is. And I'll tell you what my job is. Living and loving. And I do that to the utmost, And so, we all have a friend like Dupree. All right, where, they haven't grown up yet. They're just kind of floating through life. And by the way, if you can't think of in your inner circle of friends who among your friends is Dupree, guess what? It's you, okay? And nobody has the guts to tell you, all right? But now, maybe you're not drifting from job to job and living with your friends, or maybe you're just stuck in a rut that you can't get out of. Today, it's a lot of teaching. It's a lot of motivation. It's very, very simple. It's a lot of common sense for some of us. But how many of you know I live in a world where common sense ain't too common? All right. So what we're going to talk a lot about today is about how to get unstuck. Or if you got a kid that's not living up to their potential, and you want so much for them to grow up in a particular area, we're going to talk about a path for people to walk down in order to see change. All right. Whenever we're dealing with people, one of the most frustrating things that we discover is also one of the most liberating things that we can discover. Now, you should have message notes in your service because I want you to write this down. It's simply this. You and I can't get people to do things that are not their choice. Okay? I had a friend when I was in middle school. I was basketball nuts. Every time I had some time, man, I was out there shooting basketball. Man, I was basketball. My buddy Jason was my next door neighbor. Man, I probably kept their family. Just all the time parking in the garage because I was shooting on their basketball goal all the time. But I had a friend who was 6'10". All right. And I remember talking to him, his name's Kevin, and Kevin never worked on his game. I was like, dude, if I was your size, I'd be out here every week. I'd be dunking on people's face, and he never practiced or anything like that. And I wanted him because I was like, man, this dude could get me tickets to the NBA games and stuff like that. But he never practiced. He didn't care about it. I remember saying, I don't understand. He doesn't want it. If I were him, I would, or maybe you're talking about a particular friend in that same way, or you're like, she needs to stop doing this and start doing this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to see that we can't force people into a way of believing. You know why? Watch this. Because God won't even do that to us. Centered around Christianity is the concept of free will. God is so powerful, he could, if he wanted to, force us to be all these little mindless robots that did everything and never sinned. But he loves us so much that he won't force any of us to follow him. And I want you to join me and my family today to embark on eliminating a particular phrase from your vocabulary, okay? And whenever you do, this will be awesome, all right? Eliminate the phrase, you need to, okay? It's kind of like you see your kid that, you're looking at them and it's like 9:00 at night and they've been on the Xbox the whole time. You need to do your homework. Well, obviously they don't need to, or they will have been doing their homework up to this point. You know what I'm talking about? Where they don't see the need to. Well, no, what I really need to do is I need to get to this high level on Halo right now, Mom. Call of Duty is more important than biology, and if we don't find a way to motivate them to do their homework, guess what? We're going to have a Dupree on our hands, okay? And so, here's what I want you to write down. This is very important that you get this. Freedom occurs when we transfer the responsibility to change from our shoulders to theirs, okay? Because they're the only ones that can do something about their situation. People who are successful in life offer choices. We can try to control people, and when we do that, we take away their freedom. And when you and I don't respect people's freedom to choose, we'll nag them and try to control them and manipulate us. And guess what happens? They will resent us for that. And we'll continually frustrate ourselves as we demand someone be or do what we wish for them when they simply don't want to. Now, the only thing worse than trying to control somebody is this. You want something that's even worse than this? Eliminating the consequences. I remember one time being at a swimming pool. It was a public pool. And, I was beginning to, after this one particular day, I was sitting there thinking, I need to believe God for $50,000 to have a private pool because this is what I can't stand. All right. So we're at this public pool and there's this mother who the child is not listening to. She said it no less than 67 times. If you don't stop doing that, we're going to leave. And I came this close. But because I love you and I don't want to embarrass you, I wanted to say, Mom, you're full of crap. He's not listening to you because there's no consequence. If you don't stop it, he's still going to go do it. This is one of those things. I was like, he's calling your bluff. My dad had this philosophy when we were growing up that there was not a problem that a butt whipping couldn't fix. It's amazing how drastically his philosophy changed whenever he had his first grandchild. All right. But I was sitting there thinking, man, come on, man. What they're doing is they're eliminating the consequences. Sometimes, guys, clear consequences are the only thing that will cause somebody to make a choice. And here's what we can do. We can offer the best we can. We offer the best we have. We be the best we can, offer the best we have, and allow them to choose. One of the things I love so much about our church is this. We have people that come to our church regularly and they love our church. And you know what? They are non-Christians. And guess what? They love and regularly attend our church for one reason. Because they know they don't have to do our thing to be our friend. I love that about our church. You've done such a great job at doing that. Every week that they come here, that doesn't mean that we compromise what we believe. Every week when people come here, you're going to hear about Jesus. You're going to hear about the Bible. And when and if they choose to follow Christ, it's up to them, not us. We offer a hassle-free guarantee. If you're here today and this is your first time in church for a long time ago, you're like, oh man, I don't, what am I going to do around all these holy people? Honey, spend 10 minutes with us and you're going to realize we ain't that holy either. So God bless you for showing up. We're fine, all right? And here's what I wanted you to see is the earlier we understand the principle that we can't control people and the worst thing we can do is eliminate the consequences, the more successful we're going to be. All right. If you have your Bibles or if you don't, it's no big deal. You can look on the screen. And I want to show you this passage of scripture with me in Joshua chapter 24. And I want to give you the background of it. All right. Today we're not going to go very long. All right. I'll tell you like Britney Spears told her last husband. I won't keep you long. Okay. Let me give you the background of this. Joshua was the leader of Israel, and he took them into this promised land. He was the most successful leader that they had. Okay? Everyone in Israel is successful, and they're flourishing at home and at work, and they're living in a time of unprecedented prosperity. Okay? And Joshua's getting old, and he's about to die, and he wants to address his people one last time. All right? Now, here's what's so cool. Whenever he addresses them, he doesn't talk about what a great leader he was. He doesn't talk about all of his accomplishments or successes as a leader. He would only talk about God's goodness to and care of Israel. And with his dying words that he says publicly, this is how he concludes his comments. Watch this. Joshua 24, verse 15. He's already talked about all the blessings that God's done. He says this. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are now living. But as for me and my household, we'll serve the Lord. Okay? Watch this. This is so important we get this. Joshua learned that you can't force people to change. And he does something incredible here. He lets them choose for themselves. And that's what you and I have to do whenever we're stuck in a rut or we have friends who are stuck in a rut. We have to let them choose. Now, one of the reasons why we take away the consequences and we don't like for people to choose is because we don't want them to choose wrong and hit rock bottom, which is actually pretty selfish of us because we're doing this because it will cause us pain. If we really loved them and cared for them, we would make them choose. All right? And so there are some conversations that may need to change it with some of your friends or your family where we have to say, just want to let you know, if sobriety pleases you, then I want to encourage you to pursue that route. But if it doesn't, I'm done wringing my hands and screaming at you and trying to get you. If blessing pleases you, our kids pastor came up to me with tears in her eyes just a little while ago. She goes, Chad, just got to tell you this testimony. I said, tell me. She said, when we took up the offering, we had one kid goes, I don't have any money, but I want to give you these roller skating rink tokens. All right. And so she put them in there and she was like fighting back tears. It was my son. Okay. I mean, I was just sitting over there like, come on, dude. I just gave you $10 just the other day. He's got money. He forgot it. But anyway, so we have to look at people and give them an opportunity to please. So what some of you are like, okay, common sense. PC, what you're telling me today to wrap all this up is that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know what? That's exactly right. But here's what you and I can understand. Listen to me. This is awesome. The happiest days of our lives are when you and I avoid trying to get horses or people, in our case, to drink water when they have no thirst or they don't like water. Okay? Here's what we can do as Christ followers. Does that mean that we just trust God to wake them up in the middle of the night and shake them up? No. What you and I do is we show the people how cool and refreshing the water is. Okay? And when they're dehydrated, just say, hey, you know what? The water will help you. Okay? And we tell them how much I would really enjoy drinking water with you. I don't want you to go through life thirsty, but you know what? I'm going to enjoy this. Show them what the water has done for you. Burp loudly if it helps, okay? But realize you can't make them drink. Okay? My little boy, there are few things that he loves more in this entire world than birthday cake. Not just regular cake. Birthday cake. You know, freaking frosting's about that thick on there, all right? And so what's so funny about Evan is, One time I was at a birthday party for a kid. I hadn't seen like an old buddy of mine in years. And he said, Chad, which one is your kid? And all of a sudden they were bringing out the birthday cake. And Evan stands up on his chair and screams out, yay, birthday cake. And he goes, that's your son, isn't it? I said, yeah, you know. And so, but here's the other night we were celebrating my mom's birthday. Evan, anybody got a child in here who just struggles eating the right things? I guess, you know, I'm just, so Evan will tell you that he is not hungry, that his stomach hurts. Yet whenever we drive by Muchichi, he has been miraculously healed. Dad, I realized I couldn't eat my green beans and my other stuff over there, but you know what? I'm hungry now. And so we began to call his bluff. And so for months and years, I'd be like, boy, you need to finish your dinner. You need to finish your dinner. Until the other night, whenever I had my moment of clarity, as we in the recovery movement call it. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to stop telling Evan that he needs to finish his dinner. So what I told him at the beginning of dinner is I said, son, I just want to let you know something. At the end of our meal today, we're all going to enjoy birthday cake. Okay? And I so want you to enjoy that birthday cake with us, okay? I think it would be cool to eat birthday cake together. But the requirements for eating birthday cake is that you finish this $6 little handful of fried shrimp that I just paid for. You're going to eat every bite, okay? And you know what? I hope you're among the ones that will eat birthday cake with us. And, you know, true to form, Evan just kept there and just stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Until the boy saw the birthday cake. Guess what? It was so funny because he didn't even say it, but you could watch the light click on his eye. And guess what? Evan owned the situation. Guess what he said? Mentally, he said this to himself. I need to finish my dinner. Because he was not about to get a bite or morsel of that birthday cake until he did it. I mean, you know what? He did that. Okay? Now watch this. Let's finish with some action steps today. Okay? If we want to grow up or we want to grow in particular areas, there are 8 things that we got to do. And I promise you we won't stay here long, okay? But here's what I want to make sure that you know about today. I'm not guaranteeing results from doing these things, but I will guarantee that if you don't do this, your life won't change, okay? If we're struggling today with questions like some of us, many of us, we're in situations today where you're like, man, I'm in this relationship, or I got this guy that I'm working with, or, you know, there's some people in our company where they're saying they want to change, man. They're really saying they want to change. How do I know that they really want to change, or they're just saying this to pacify me? You're going to be able to know before you leave today. Okay? 8 quick steps. Some of us today, should I continue on standing beside this friend who says they want to change, or should I move on to something else? We can know we're growing up when we do these 8 things. Number 1, when people get involved in a proven change process. Okay? Successful people don't go back to things that don't work. Well, I'm going to get sober on my own, and I'm just going to go like sit out in the woods for like 3 days, and that don't work. All right? You know what does work? AA. Thursday night, 7:00 here. All right? AA by the Bay. It's awesome. I would love to be able to see you here, and I come to it. Why? Because I'm a drunken pillhead, so I like to go over there, all right? You get involved in a proven process that will turn things around. Where today, if you're here and you're like brand new in your relationship with Christ, next week at 10:00, we have this thing where if you want to learn more about the Bible, we have this thing. It goes 8 weeks long. It's called Starting Point. Okay? You don't have to go through your life, you know, not knowing stuff about the Bible. You're going to, in 8 weeks, it'll take an hour long. You'll be able to grow in your faith. I want to encourage you to sign up for that. There's AA. There's Celebrate Recovery. There's marriage small groups. What was so cool, about 2 years ago, we had a couple in our church. Their marriage was over. Separated, filing for divorce. Finally, both of them, man, God began to deal with their hearts. And they said, Chad, what do I need to be able to do? Because all of you know, I am no marriage counselor. If you come to me, I will screw your marriage up even worse. All right? I mean, this is just not my gift, okay? And I said, I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to get in a marriage small group. They were in a marriage small group on Sunday night, and they were in a marriage small group on Wednesday night. Guess what? They're back together playing kissy face all the time. You know what? Guess whose marriage I'm betting on? Okay? They got involved in a proven change process. Maybe you're here and you've been struggling and you need to be in some counseling. It's no problem, all right? But somehow, some way, we've got to stop the insanity and get involved in a proven change process. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to invent a new process. Just do the stuff that's proven. Number 2, we have to have additional structure. Whenever you're in rehab, guess what they say and scream constantly to you as you're leaving? 90 minutes and 90 days. 90 meetings in 90 days. 90 meetings in 90 days. How many meetings are you going to go to before you leave here, Chad? 90 meetings in 90 days, all right? We're like 2 days a week, I'm going to be involved in some type of marriage counseling. If you're here today and your marriage is on the rocks, okay, I want to encourage you, before you call it quits, you need to get some marriage counseling for a season. I'm preaching better than you're shouting right now. I just want to make sure everybody knows. Okay, do I need to conclude right here? I got to let you know your feet work. You know, you need to pick up your feet today. Hey, I remember, well, I went to that counselor once. I mean, come on, for God's sake. I mean, how many times did you walk, did your dad beat you the first time you tried to walk and you fell? It's a proven process. Be in it for at least 3 months. Okay? That's a season. All right? Be in there, work, and fight with it. All right? Get involved in small groups. Get in some personal counseling. For us to have hope, for people to change, where we have to stop depending on people to do the work for us. It means that, I own this. All right? And some of you, look at me. In some relationships that you're in, we need to put down some ultimatums and say, you do this and I will have hope. If you do not do this, we're done. Okay? Number 3, get new wisdom. Okay? Many people are stuck because they need to work on the people side. Have you ever known somebody where, dude, they're just brilliant. With people, they're just terrible. Where you're like, let's work on, let's get you to read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because you're doing the exact opposite of it. All right. I'm noticing in working with organizations and stuff like that, I still do some consulting from time to time where I'm like, okay, these are just people problems. I venture to say about 75% of them, they're just people problems where you got to be able to say, hey, look, some people, that dude, he don't care anything about me. Just remember one thing. If you want to turn a conversation and change a conversation, talk to people about their favorite topic. What's their favorite topic? Themselves. All right. Just one quick, and then all of a sudden you learn that, people, well, he asked me a lot about me. He must really want to get to know me, or she wants to get. If you're going on a date, guys, learn to ask questions and shut up. All right? By the way, they will fall in love with you if they think you're a good listener. You can be ugly. I mean, you can be all, none of y'all, well, some of you are ugly, but this could help us out considerably. I'm just kidding. All right? So watch. We learn new ways. We don't depend on other people to do the work for. We get new wisdom. Okay. Number 4, we have new experiences and learn new skills. Some of us in our marriages, we just need to learn how to talk again. Before we planted the church, an old friend, man, I drank enough beer with her and her husband to float a battleship way back in the day, okay? And their marriage was on the rocks, and they said, Chad, can we just meet with you? And I was like, yeah, because you don't go to my church, and I can't screw you up any worse, So they came, and one of the things where they've been married at that point, right at about 4 years. For about 6 months, they weren't even sleeping in the same room anymore. And then, one of them was on the border of having an affair and everything. And so I just said, okay, take me back. And I'm just listening. I'm asking the right questions. And she says, Chad, from the day we got married, whenever I would go to work, he would look at me and say, I love you. Have a great day. Please don't cheat on me. Because his first wife cheated on him. And I said, and she goes, and man, that just wore me down. And the guy goes, well, I didn't want her to cheat on me. And I was like, I understand that. I said, but can I offer some outside counsel here? And they're like, yeah, that's why we're here. I just bought you lunch. And I said, whether you realize it or not, every day for 3 years, you were calling your wife a whore. And he was like, well, I wasn't trying to. Well, guess what? That's a guy's greatest. Well, I wasn't trying to do that. Well, guess what? I remember one time I was talking to a guy. I said, I know you're not trying to be rude, but guess what? He said, man, I didn't realize that. And so now, instead of saying, I love you, have a great day, don't cheat on me, why not say, I love you, have a great day, Can't wait to see you tonight. All right. They had to work on new skills. And if you don't work on new skills, guess what? Listen to me, guys. If you go through life lonely and unattached and trying to trying to live life in isolation, guess what? We're going to get more of the same. We can't complain about what we permit because the past is the best predictor of the future. So we got to start doing some new things. Okay. Now, the fifth thing we have to do is have self-sustaining motivation. Okay? This means you're not having to push people to go to their meetings. Come on, somebody. You know what I'm talking about? You're not having to push people to make their doctor appointments. You're not having to push that person to go and put in a job application. Okay? These are self-motivating people. And here's what we got to do. We got to have some hard conversations with some friends or maybe some relatives or maybe some children. And say, if you want to be in a relationship with me, if you want to live in this house, you will do this and I want to see you do this. Okay? The Bible says that they that hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. Do you want to know the redneck Chad Stafford version of that message right there? It's simply this. You ain't got to talk a hungry person into eating. Self-sustaining motivation. And so the next thing we got to go to is we got to admit our need. Okay? I own this. Whenever I start hearing people, I know that they're a coastie for life whenever they start. Whenever I hear your language start going, you know what I like about your church, Chad? Wow, the language I love to hear is, you know what I love to hear about, what I love about our church, Chad? Our church is so much bigger than me. I thank you for coming in spite of me. But where people are owning the vision, I own this, I need this. You know, instead of, I only come here because my mom makes me. You know, I mean, that's a significant difference. I was a part of court-ordered AA whenever I was 19. Okay? And can I tell you something was so powerful with our AA by the Bay? And I go there and I cry every time I go. It's because there's a significant difference. Everybody that I was in AA with over 20 years ago, it was court-ordered. Nobody wanted to be there. The dang teacher didn't even want to be there. But whenever you go over there on Thursday nights, and there are broken, but the only thing that we all have in common, guys, look at me, is that we're all broken. And there's just raw transparency where people are like, man, I came to a point in my life where my life was unmanageable. And man, there's an anointing of God. There's a powerful draw because there are people that are owning their need. They're admitting their need. The next thing that people go is they have support and energy. Maybe, they have a sponsor or accountability, somebody supporting them through the process, where maybe it's a sponsor or a leader or a mentor or a guide. Okay? By the way, just want to let you know, a couple of years ago, I read a great business book. All right. This was worth it. I've remembered it for like 10 years. All right. This is whenever the billionaires were starting to surface a little bit. And they were discovering how millionaires become billionaires. Y'all want to save $20 on a book? Would y'all like to learn how to become a billionaire? Not me, Pastor Chad. I just want more of Jesus. I don't want any money. Come on. Don't quit lying to yourself. This was the conclusion. Millionaires become billionaires by hanging out with billionaires. Teenagers, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You hanging out with a bunch of stinking, thinking, thumb-sucking losers, guess what you're going to be? Just by osmosis, you're going to be a loser. Change it. Maybe there's some adults need to hear that today too. Quit trying to soar with the eagles when you hang around with a bunch of turkeys and chickens. It ain't got no future, no hope. Got this. What does he do? Same thing he was doing 35 years ago? Move on. Like Frozen saying, let it go. Come on. There are some people, I love you and love you dearly, but dude, you're just a loser. You need to grow up. You're Dupree. And then finally is that other people see some movement. All right? Not necessarily tomorrow. All right? But what after time is different? Are you seeing some movement? All right? It doesn't have to be an overnight change. But as long as you can see where they move from, dude, he stinks at this, to he's not so bad at this. He's getting better at this. If there is some noted improvement, and here's the other thing where you can actually get to a point. The Bible talks about this. It's a real big Christian word. If you're raised in Sunday school like I was in the Baptist church and everything like that, there's this principle called justification. Okay? And it's where one day you can look your stuff and your issues and we'll be like, yeah, I used to be like that. Can I tell you something? Look at me, church. True Christ followers are people that stare their crap in the face and address the issues. They quit denying it and quit, well, man, my mom struggled with that. It's a learned thing. So, you know what? You can learn to be holy just as much as you learn to be dysfunctional. But you know what happens here? Whenever you and I understand this process, that it's not overnight, God leads us one step at a time and he fixes us one issue at a time. Okay? Today, if you're sitting there, man, I want to get more involved. I realize I've got a need for Christ, but man, I got to quit drinking. I got to quit smoking. I sleep in the wrong bed sometimes. I vote the wrong way. You know, hey, don't worry about that. One issue at a time. Okay? Yeah. You may smoke weed 10 times a week. Cool. You're not by yourself. Here's the thing. Some of you may be here and say, Chad, I gave my life to the Lord. I mean, I still cuss people out. Well, man, the cool thing is that you don't cuss near as much as you used to. You went from 5,000 times a day down to 1,000. Dude, we may can get it before 100 before the end of the year's over with. Progress. God doesn't look at you and says, man, dude, if they would just stop this, I would do this. No. It's a process. Whenever you learn to walk and you fell flat on your face, your dad didn't come over there and kick you in the butt and tell you you're never going to walk. Let's don't think that God's like this. But here's what I want to throw this out to you, okay? If you want to get unstuck, or you have some friends that you know are saying they want to get unstuck, here's the thing. We have to do it God's way. Because our way doesn't work. Do you know how I've stayed sober for 21 years? One day at a time. One day at a time. I remember the night I got saved, I was like, all right, God, you do know that tomorrow night I will probably go tie one on. But today, I'm going to serve you. I can't control what happens tomorrow, God, but I want to. And you know what? June the 9th of 1993. It's the day I gave my life to Jesus. It's been the most beautiful day by day process. I'm so glad. Some of you, we partied together way back in the day and you still come here. I'm so amazed that you come. Thank you so much. Because you remember what I was. But for 21 years, God has been bringing me through that refiner's fire. And he's making me what he originally created me to be. I screwed it up for 19 years. For us to have God's power, for us to have true change, we have to recognize that our way doesn't work. And when we realize that, it's called humility. That's a person that God can use. And those are the type of people that help bring the gospel all over the world, where we're not perfect, we're just being perfected. And when you and I understand that, that is when the Gulf Coast will be saved.